welcome. Today's video is a book review. I Was There by Alan Edwards, who was amongst other things, a highly successful PR eventually at his own company. Represented some massive clients. The Spice Girls, David Beckham turns up in this book. You name it, he's kind of worked with them. But for today's review, it's very much about what, if you look at the cover of his book there, that's obviously David Bowie. And Alan started working with Bowie in the Let's Dance era, and worked with him right up until the final album, Black Star. So there's some tales in here that are not that well known. Fascinating read. Alan Edwards worked throughout the music industry in the 70s and gradually built his own company up through to the 1990s. And as I said, he's worked with everyone under the sun. What's really interesting on this book is the Bowie tales are not that well known, and what comes across in this book is that Bowie did nothing by accident. That Alan suggests that he was the most kind of clued in client that he had, and he knew if he was launching an album, he always knew who he wanted to talk to. He asked for research on circulation numbers, not necessarily about which magazines were the most popular, but which were the most influential. And he was always looking for something different. And what comes across here is nothing, as I say, was by accident. He also worked with the Stones, and I think Mick Jagger is very, very similar in that regard, that there's an attention to detail that may not be there with some of the other clients. Unusually, there's Mark Bolan turns up in this book as well. And I don't know about you guys, but whenever I read anything about Mark Bolan, 9 times out of 10 it's not particularly flattering. But in this book, actually, there's a lovely tale that Alan is working for another chap who gives him his first break. And unfortunately, one afternoon, the guy he works with, he's rushed into hospital, and all kind of hell is breaking loose in the office. The phone's ringing off the hook, and Mark Bolan phones him to find out how this chap is, and if everything's all right. Other artists are calling, and their preoccupation is more about the effect it'll have on them. And whilst he's trying desperately to cover all bases, because he's still relatively inexperienced in this job, door goes, and there is Mark Bolan in his full rock star feather bows regalia, and in he comes and he says, "Right, what do you want me to do?" And Mark Bolan manned the phones for the day until this chap recovered. So it's highly unusual to get a nice kind of Mark Bolan story. So yeah, that's just one. I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's well worth reading. It's quite new. As I say, this was a gift from the folks, so thank you very much. But if you're a David Bowie fan, he starts working on the Let's Dance tour with Bowie, and he has a relationship right up until Black Star, and it's quite sad really that he talks about the last time that he met David. So really good book, really interesting. A whole cast of who's who: Uriah Heep, Mark Bolan, the Beckhams, the Spice Girls, you name it. The Who is quite there. There's a great Keith Moon tale in there, so don't want to spoil it too much. But if you've got an interesting kind of 70s to 90s kind of rock and pop and what kind of goes on behind the scenes, I would highly recommend it. I Was There by Alan Edwards. So short and sweet, but a good book, well worth checking out.